Padre Pio, one of the most revered and mysterious saints of the Catholic Church, left prophecies that still perplex us today. Among them is one that could be happening at this very moment in Mexico, the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness. This event, described by the saint as a devastating physical and spiritual ordeal, is not only a metaphor for difficult times, but a literal warning about a complete darkness that will cover the earth for 3 days. Could we already be seeing the first signs of this warning in the country? If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. Mexico, a country known for its devotion to the Virgin of Guadalupe and its deep-rooted religious tradition, seems to be in the eye of this spiritual storm. In recent decades, the country has experienced a significant increase in violence, political polarization, and a spiritual crisis that has left many in a state of uncertainty. Is this a sign of what Padre Pio warned about? Are we really prepared to face such a profound purification? During his lifetime, he had visions and spiritual gifts that connected him with the divine, allowing him to see what others could not. He predicted great tribulations for mankind, including the famous 3 days of darkness. According to his vision, during those days, the world will be plunged into total chaos, and only those who are spiritually prepared will survive this time of purification. The darkness will be so dense that no ray of light will pass through it, and those who do not take the necessary measures will face devastating consequences. Recent events in Mexico seem to be in line with these warnings. What once seemed disconnected now takes on a new form when viewed through the lens of prophecy. From natural disasters to the collapse of the social order, every tragedy could be an indication that something greater is to come. What does this mean for the faithful in Mexico and around the world? Is this the culmination of the warning Padre Pio tried to convey to us? The signs are present. Now it is up to us to be attentive and prepared for what may come. The link between Padre Pio and the divine has left an indelible mark on the history of the Catholic faith. Mexico now seems to be facing an unprecedented spiritual challenge. His warnings about the 3 days of darkness are increasingly felt. For many, recent events of violence, corruption, and natural disasters are signs that the fulfillment of prophecy is near. Known for his mystical gifts and life of suffering, he not only endured the stigmata of Christ in his own body, but also received visions of a terrifying future for humanity. On several occasions, he explained in detail how these 3 days of darkness would be a physical and spiritual ordeal, during which chaos would reign over the earth. Those who ignore the warnings will face forces beyond their comprehension. Those days, according to him, will be so intense that artificial lights will fail, and only blessed candles will be able to give light in the midst of the dense darkness that will cover the world. Imagine being in the midst of a world plunged into darkness, where only those who are truly prepared will manage to stay safe. The warnings are here to give us a chance to act, to protect our loved ones, and to find light in the midst of the darkness. But do you know exactly what steps to take to ensure your protection in those critical moments? This is exactly what The Secret of Jesus' Apparitions offers, a path to clarity and peace through his revelations. This e-book presents his prophecies and offers a glimpse of what lies ahead. It is available free of charge in the commentary. Grab it now, before we run out of editions. Mexico, a country that for centuries has been the heart of many religious devotions, now faces a profound spiritual crisis. Families that once relied on faith now find themselves in a state of uncertainty, weakened by growing violence and the loss of traditional values. He left clear instructions for dealing with these difficult times. Stay indoors, do not look out of windows, and pray continually. Those who do not follow these guidelines, according to the prophecy, will not survive the dark forces that will dominate those days. These events, which might seem like isolated tragedies to some, are seen by others as part of a larger plan. Throughout his life, he tried to warn humanity about the trials ahead, and it seems that those warnings are beginning to materialize. For the faithful, now is the time to reflect on the depth of their faith and prepare spiritually for what is to come. Father's warning of the 3 days of darkness contains a number of frightening elements, but it also provides hope for those who keep their faith intact. The chaos that will be unleashed will not come with prior warning. It will be a sudden event, catching humanity off guard. In Mexico, this warning seems to resonate more and more, especially in a country that has always had a strong spiritual connection, but in recent times has faced a crisis of faith and violence. The protection promised to the faithful will come only to those who take refuge in prayer, which raises the question, how many are really prepared for something so unimaginable? The violence taking over Mexican streets, drug trafficking and rampant corruption are inescapable signs. Padre Pío predicted that this type of behavior would be a harbinger of dark times, a reflection of humanity's disconnection from its spiritual roots. The increase in natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, and extreme weather events in Mexico are also part of this series of warnings. These are not mere coincidences. Each event seems to align with the words that this saint left as his legacy. In addition, the loss of spiritual values is palpable in the communities. Mexico, a country where faith has been a cornerstone, has been moving away from the religious practices that once held families and communities together. Empty churches and a lack of commitment to spiritual life are clear signs that something has changed, and not for the better. For those who understand Padre Pío's warnings, it is clear that spiritual estrangement is a dangerous path leading to times of uncertainty and tribulation. In the midst of these problems, social division has become another alarming factor. The lack of dialogue, extremism, and political polarization that Mexico is experiencing makes solutions increasingly difficult to reach. As you read about the importance of being spiritually prepared, remember that you can get our detailed guide to strengthen your faith during these difficult times. There are very few units left, so don't miss out. Instead of uniting to face these challenges, society seems to be fragmenting even more. This internal fracturing is exactly what he mentioned as a sign that humanity is on the brink of great tribulation. In the midst of a declining spiritual landscape, Mexico faces signs that for some are clear warnings that the predicted days of darkness are drawing ever closer. As social chaos and natural disasters continue to plague the nation, the instructions left by the saint become more relevant than ever. Protection will not only depend on physical acts, but on a deep spiritual preparation, a reconnection with faith. He made it clear that when darkness comes, the only safety will be in the shelter of the home. Closing oneself off to the outside will not only avoid physical influences, but will also protect the soul from the spiritual dangers that will roam the earth. During these days, evil forces will take advantage of confusion and fear to attack the unsuspecting. The recommendation to cover the windows with cloths or curtains is not only symbolic, but a measure to avoid the temptation to look and be influenced by what is happening outside. The importance of blessed candles is another crucial detail. These candles represent the spiritual light that will illuminate the path of the faithful in the midst of total darkness. During those 3 days, when electricity fails and no other light source works, only the light of these candles will be enough to guide and protect. Faith represented in the light of these flames, will become the barrier against evil. Having them ready is a practical recommendation and an act of enormous trust in divine guidance. Beyond physical instructions, Padre Pio insisted on the need for continuous spiritual preparation. Prayer will be the main tool of defense, and the Rosary in particular must be recited constantly during the 3 days of darkness. This prayer is a symbol of faith, a powerful spiritual protection that the faithful should use as their shield against evil influences. In addition, it is recommended to have access to spiritual readings and to practice spiritual communion at home, since it will be impossible to attend churches during those days. The importance of repentance and living according to the divine commandments is another key pillar of preparation. He warned that the time for reconciliation with God is now, before darkness falls upon the world. It is an urgent call for personal purification through confession and the act of charity towards others. The journey through the 3 days of darkness will be a matter of physical survival and a spiritual test that will demand complete preparation. To face this period, a balance between faith and wisdom is required. It is not just a matter of accumulating material resources, but of cultivating a spiritual fortitude that will enable us to stand firm in the midst of chaos. Instead of giving in to fear, we are invited to trust fully in divine protection. As we delve deeper into Padre Pio's advice, it is essential that you act now. Our ebook with key instructions is available for a limited time. Download it before the last copies are sold out. Isolation will be total, and what happens outside the homes will be terrifying. However, the key is not to let panic take over. In those moments of uncertainty, prayer will be the most powerful tool. It will be a time of silence and introspection, where the soul will be put to the test, facing its own fears and doubts. In addition to inner strength, he recommended that those preparing spiritually should also have the basics in terms of provisions. Having enough food is not about ensuring physical survival at any cost, but about being able to maintain an atmosphere of tranquility at home while the outside world is plunged into turmoil. Every home should become a sanctuary, a space of devotion where faith can flourish even in the midst of darkness. The true essence of his prophecy is that these dark days will not simply be a punishment, but an opportunity for transformation. After those 3 days, those who kept their faith will see a new dawn, a rebirth both spiritually and socially. It will be a time when humanity will have the opportunity to rediscover its purpose and renew its relationship with the divine. To this end, it is vital that the process of preparation begins before the darkness arrives. The outer darkness that will cover the earth is only a reflection of a much deeper inner crisis that humanity has faced. His warnings are about physical disasters and the spiritual disconnection that has been growing over time. The call is clear. Purification of the soul, repentance, and a return to faith are the only way to get through this period without succumbing to the forces that will try to lead the unsuspecting astray. The silence that will accompany these days will also be a time of encounter. Without the usual distractions, each individual will be forced to confront his own spirit, his mistakes, and his faith. The symbolism is clear. The darkness is not only the lack of physical light, but the lack of spiritual light that has invaded the lives of many. It will be an opportunity to look inward, reflect, and reconnect with the sacred. In those moments when darkness overtakes the world, it will be crucial to remain calm and remember the Father's warnings. Temptations will come not only in the form of fear and despair, but also through the self-doubts that will assail the hearts of many. The trials to which we will be subjected will not only be external, but the real challenge will lie in the ability to internally withstand the coming spiritual storm. He emphasized that during those 3 days, the forces of evil will manifest themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. Doubts in faith, unresolved regrets, and temptations of the soul will be the battlefield where each individual must fight for his or her own redemption. Those who have not made peace with themselves or who are spiritually unprepared may succumb not because of what they will see on the outside, but because of what they will face within themselves. As you reflect on the warnings Padre Pio left us, take this opportunity to make sure you are ready. The ebook is available to you, but units are limited. Click and access it while it is still available. This period will demand spiritual preparation and significant psychological fortitude. Absolute isolation and silence will open doors to enormous introspection, where people will have to face their mistakes and faults without any distractions. He alerted us to this. It is in silence, when everything else is off, that the real spiritual battle begins. For those who make it through this intense time of purification, the subsequent dawn will bring unprecedented inner clarity. These 3 days will be, in many ways, a unique opportunity for transformation, for personal and collective reboot. If this message makes you reflect and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us continue to create valuable content, consider giving us a super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. The souls that go through this period without crumbling in the face of internal adversity will be the ones that emerge stronger, with a renewed vision of what it means to live in communion with the divine. Beyond physical preparation, he made it clear that success in this test will depend on the ability to face our deepest fears with serenity. It is not just a matter of having material provisions or blessed candles, but of preparing for an emotional and mental battle that could crumble those who are not spiritually ready.